Morning students, today we are going to discuss about the solid state which comes under the physical chemistry first chapter. So solid state. So matter, we know there are three different physical states, namely solid, liquid and gas. If we look around the world, we find most of the substances are solids rather than liquids and gases. The solids which are different from liquids and gases by possessing a special property is a volume and a definite shape. So by using volume and the shape only, we can differentiate the solids from liquids and gases. And also a special property is a tightly held ordered arrangement of atoms or ions present in the solids. For example, diamond, metals, plastics, etc. So in this chapter, we are going to discuss about the classification of solids, the structure and the properties also. See here, when we compare this, both are solids. So first one is wood, the second one is metal chains. Both are exist as a solid form, but they differ in their property. That is a physical property, they differ. See, wood does not conduct the electricity as well as heat, but these two property, electrical conductivity and the thermal conductivity, which is exhibited by the metal rods or metal chains. So why these so much of differences between the wood and the metal chains? Because the nature of particles and the binding forces acting between them only differ. So now I am going to discuss about the general characters of solids. So very important question. There are 5 points are there. What are the general characters of solids? We know all the points already, but even though here textbook it is given. So first point, solids have a definite volume and shape. We know already. Second point, solids are rigid and incompressible. Incompressible means, for example, if we take stone, we cannot able to compress it. So that property we call it as a incompressible. I am going to explain about the general characters of solids. So very important question. So unlike gases, in solids, the atoms, ions or molecules, they are held together by a strong force of attraction. So due to this strong force only, the solids have these properties. First one, solids have definite volume and shape. Solids are rigid and incompressible. Incompressible means if you take an example for a stone, we cannot able to compress its size. So that is called incompressible. Solids have a strong cohesive forces. Cohesive force means the force of attraction between the atoms or ions is very strong. So the solids have a strong cohesive forces. That means attachment of the atoms or molecules. Solids have a short interatomic, ionic or molecular distance. Suppose if you take the ionic solids or molecular solids, their interatomic distance, that means the distance between one atom with another atom, is very short. So solids have very short interatomic or ionic or molecular distance. Their constituents, that means in the solids, what are the atoms or ions or molecules present, they have a fixed positions and can only oscillate about their mean position. That means they occupy a fixed position. For example, sodium chloride is a face-centered cubic. So in face-centered cubic means the atoms and ions are they only occupy in the body center or face or at the edges like that. So they should have a fixed positions and can oscillate. Oscillate means when we give any disturbances like electricity or any heat, they will oscillate about in their mean positions only. So these 5 points is very important. These are the general characters of solids. Next we are going to see about what are the classification of solids. Now we are going to see the classification of solids. The solids, which may be depending upon their arrangement of their ions, atoms, they may classified into main two types, crystalline and amorphous solids. So classification of solids, first crystalline solids and amorphous solids. Amorphous means it's a powdery in nature. That means the atoms or ions or molecules, They are not arranged in the ordered arrangement. There is irregular pattern of arrangement. Example, glass, rubber, etc. So in this chapter we are going to see only about the crystalline solids. So there are 5 types. First one is ionic crystal. Example, sodium chloride, potassium chloride, NaCl, KCl. The second one is covalent crystals. Example, diamond and silica, nothing but sand, that is SiO2, silicon dioxide. Third one is molecular crystals. Example, naphthalene, anthracene and glucose also. Next, fourth one, metallic crystals. This is all metallic elements. They may be in the rod type or a sheet form. Sodium metal, magnesium, copper, gold, silver, etc. Next, atomic solids. Only the atoms alone is present. That is example, frozen elements of group 18. Group 18 we know, that is the inert gas group. Inert gas means that is helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon. These are gases we know. But that gases also can be compressed to the solid form that exists as atomic solids. We know that noble gases alone is a monoatomic in nature. They never forms a molecule. So they only form atomic solids. That is the example, frozen elements of group 18. Next, we are going in detail seeing about crystalline solids. The term crystal, which is coming from the Greek word crystallos. Crystallos means a clear ice. That means clear ice means what are the atoms or ions, any particle, if it is present means we can able to see. That is a clear, crystal clear. That is a clear ice. That means crystallos. From that word only the crystal is arises. Definition for crystalline solids. See, a crystalline solid is one which is constituent means atoms, ions or molecules. They have an orderly arrangement extending over a long range. That means, for example, if you take a dog chain or any tall building like that, that means the first stage, how it arranges, that will extend for a long distance. Similarly here, crystalline solid also. Suppose if it is a face-centered cubic, throughout the entire crystal it will be a face-centered. If it is a body-centered means throughout it will be a body-centered arrangement. So they have an orderly arrangement extending over a long range. Next, the arrangement of such constituents in a crystalline solid is such that the potential energy of the system is at minimum. That means if it binds very tightly means its potential energy. That means never the atoms or particles, they never move from one place to another place. That's why the potential energy of the system is at minimum. Next, we are coming to amorphous solids. In amorphous solids, the constituents are randomly arranged. Example, glass, rubber, plastics, etc. The differences between crystalline and amorphous solids. Crystalline solids, amorphous solids. So very important question. In crystalline solids, the long range orderly arrangement of constituents, that means atoms, ions or molecules, they are arranged in a regular manner for a long range, for a long distance. Here it is a short range, random arrangement of constituents, that means exact the molecules will be arranged. Crystalline solids have definite shape. Here it is having an irregular shape, example plastic, etc. Generally, crystalline solids are anisotropic in nature. Here it is an isotropic like liquids. This is what you mean by anisotropy and isotropy. Next coming video I will explain. Nothing but the property, that is the physical properties like a refractive index, electrical conductivity, they will differ in the crystalline solids. That's why it is an anisotropic. But here isotropic means when a light is passing through amorphous solids means here the refractive index value will be same. That is call it as a iso, that means same. So its physical properties will be same throughout the amorphous solids. They are true solids. Here they are considered as a pseudo. Pseudo means false. It's looking like a crystal but it's not a crystal. So they are considered as pseudo solids or supercooled liquids. Definite heat of fusion, that means when it melts and it melt at a sharp temperature, so definite heat of fusion. Here heat of fusion is not definite. They have sharp melting points, but here it should be a range, that means from this temperature to that temperature like that. So over a range of temperature and so can be molded again. Example for crystalline solid is sodium chloride, diamond, etc. Here rubber, plastics, glass, etc. So these are the 7 differences between crystalline and amorphous solids. Now isotropy means uniformity in all direction. This word is important. Uniformity in all directions. That means if you are taking any solids, if you passing a light, or if you passing a heat, or passing electric current, these are all physical property. These physical property will be, the values will be same throughout the solids. That property we call it as a isotropy. Isotropy means uniformity in all directions. In solid state, isotropy means having identical, that is the same value of physical properties such as refractive index, electrical conductance, etc. in all directions, whereas anisotropy is a property which depends on the direction of measurement. So this is nothing but what is isotropy and what is anisotropy. Definition is given in this point. Now, whether the crystalline solids are anisotropy or isotropy. Suppose if the question is asked, why crystalline solids are anisotropy? Because they show different values of physical property when measured along the different directions. Here the diagrammatic explanation for the anisotropy and the isotropy. So very careful. Anisotropy means for crystalline solid, isotropy for amorphous solids. First, what is crystalline? What is amorphous? See, if you are seeing the picture, so if you assume as a cation fully, then anion, then cation, then anion. There will be a regular arrangement of atoms or ions for a long range, for a long distance. Suppose if we pass the light from, or passing the electricity from one direction, so the values will be different, because here is a cation means it shows some value. If it is an anion means it shows some different value, then different, then cation, anion. So the values will be changed. That's why we call it as a crystalline solids are anisotropy in nature. But for isotropy, there will be a zigzag arrangement of ions. There is no regular arrangement. So here cation, here anion, like that it is present. So the values will be entirely, wherever we pass the electricity or heat, the values will be same, because it is an irregular arrangement of atoms. So it is called as a isotropy. Now I am going to explain about the types of solids. So we know ionic solids, covalent solids, molecular solids, then atomic solids, etc. So now the first type is ionic solids. So in your textbook it is given as a paragraph, but this is a tabular column way for keeping in mind very easily. That's why I show here. So ionic solids, that means the particles, what are the constituent particles present means full and full ions, not a atom, not a molecule. Only it is in ions. That's why it is called as ionic solids. Then what type of forces exist? It's a Coulombic or electrostatic force. That means a strong force of between cation and anion. We call it as a Coulombic or electrostatic force. Example for ionic solids are sodium chloride, magnesium oxide, zinc sulfide, calcium fluoride. For example, if you take sodium chloride, each corners and the face center. So all present as a sodium ion, chloride ion, sodium ion, chloride ion in an alternate way. So here cation and anion will be present. That's why example for ionic solids. Similarly for magnesium oxide, Mg2 plus ion and O2 minus ion. So these are the examples for ionic solids. Then what about the physical nature? So it is very hard due to the electrostatic force. So very hard and brittle, but it can be easily broken. When we take a salt, that is a crystal salt, if we put it ground means it will easily break down. So it is a hard due to the Coulombic force, but it is brittle one. Then electrical conductivity. Insulators in solid state. Suppose if the ionic solids present as a solid form means it does not conduct the electricity, but it is acting as a good conductor when it is in the molten state or in the aqueous solutions. That means if sodium chloride crystal alone means it does not conduct electricity, the same sodium chloride if you dissolve with the water, so it forms a molten solution, then it will conduct the electric current. Then what about the melting point? It will be very high because due to the electrostatic force, so we have to supply more amount of heat to melt that particular solids. Then second one is covalent or network solids. Here fully atoms only present. For example, diamond, if we take, only carbon is an atom which will be connected with each other. So what type of forces exist here? So here covalent bonding, that means the bond is covalent. It is a mutual sharing of electrons between the atoms. So covalent bond will be exist. Example, silica, that is SiO2, quartz, silicon carbide, then carbon, that is nothing but pure diamond, then aluminium nitride, then graphite. These are the example for covalent or network solids. What about physical nature? So silica and diamond is hard, but graphite alone soft in nature. Then conductivity, we know that is diamond is a insulators, but the same carbon content graphite is a good conductor, because we already know, because of the free mobile electron present in the graphite is responsible for the conduction of electricity. And melting point is very high because it is a hard solid substance, so it is very high in nature. So next we are going to see about the molecular solids types. The third type is molecular solids. In molecular solids, there is a three classifications are there: non-polar molecular solid, polar molecular solid, and hydrogen bonded molecular solids. Let us be discussed one by one. First, non-polar molecules. What do you mean by non-polar? The molecules which do not carry any type of charges. For example, that is CCl4, carbon tetrachloride. We cannot split into C plus and Cl4 minus. We can't able. But same way, polar molecule means if we take HCl, H plus and Cl minus. So if positive and negative charges are both present means we call it as a polar molecule. If it not present means we call it as a non-polar molecules. So non-polar molecular solid. Attractive force is dispersion or London force. That means between, that is CCl4 and argon, or between H2 and I2. For example, if we take hydrogen atom combined with other hydrogen atom, one hydrogen molecule will be formed. This hydrogen molecule, they can combine with another hydrogen molecule means only a weak force of attraction. That's why we call it as a dispersion or a London forces. So example, argon, carbon tetrachloride, hydrogen molecule, iodine molecule, as well as carbon dioxide. But carbon dioxide is also coming under, that is here, that is a dipole-dipole interaction also. So non-polar molecules, these are the example, and the physical nature is very soft because is a weak London force only exists is there. And what about the conductivity means? It is an insulator because it is a non-polar, so definitely it will be an insulator in nature, and melting point is also very low. Next comes to polar molecular solids. So dipole-dipole interaction. Best example is HCl, that is H plus and Cl minus. This then take another one example, H plus and Cl minus. Here first molecule chlorine combined with the second molecule's hydrogen. So there will be a cation-anion force of attraction. So a dipole-dipole interaction. Dipole means H plus Cl minus. Take another one HCl, H plus Cl minus. So here one dipole and another molecule one dipole, their interaction will take place. And it is also a soft in nature and insulator and also having a very low melting point. The third one is very important one, hydrogen bonded molecular solids. In 11th standard itself we studied about hydrogen bonding. What do you mean by hydrogen bonding? If hydrogen which lies between two strong electronegative atoms, we call it as a hydrogen bonding, and there are two types. One is intramolecular, other one is intermolecular. Intra means within a molecule and inter means between these molecules. The same way here also hydrogen bonding will exist. Water is it may be exist as a liquid form as well as ice form. How water exists as ice form means due to the presence of hydrogen bonding only. So in H2O. Then physical nature, it is a hard one. That is when water is present as a ice form only, it will be a hard, then insulator and very low melting point. So these are the types of molecular solids: non-polar molecular solid, polar molecular solid, hydrogen bonded molecular solids. Learn with the examples. The last type is metallic solids. See, in the metallic solids, positive ions in a sea of delocalized electrons. That means if electrons is maximum amount, if you take for example 50 electrons are there, they are moving here and there like a sea. And the positive ions only 10 or 5 to 10 only positive ions means here the positive ions which may be present in the sea of delocalized electrons. That type we call it as a metallic bonding. And examples iron, copper, silver, magnesium, etc. Because they are also high conductivity substance. So it is a hard and malleable and ductile. We know metals property. All metals are hard in nature and it can be make them into rod or make them into sheets. So it is a malleable and ductile one. Then conductors in solid state as well as in the molten state. We know aluminium, gold, silver, all are connecting in the, either in the solid state as well as in the molten state also, and having a very high melting point. We know the melting point of iron, copper is very high. So all the metallic solids, they exhibit a high melting point due to the metallic bonding and also very hard in nature. So far children, in this video we saw about the introduction part of solids, then classification of solids, types of solids, then general characters of solids, etc. And also remaining things, that is the types. In that types we know about that is molecular solids, ionic solids, metallic solids as well as covalent solids. So I think you are all understand these topics. So next video we will see. So thank you children.